Good evening, good afternoon, hello, wherever you are. Welcome to another edition of Red Debates, Red Voice Arena, where we tackle issues that have to deal with Africans and we share a voice for different topics. So, welcome to you all who are here. So, today, this evening, we have Team Nigeria versus Team Tanzania, who's going to battle out for this topic. Economic growth versus environmental protection, which should take priority. Quick agenda here. I'll do the opening statement, then team introductions. I'll go over the debate rules, opening statements by the teams, and then we will do a review. We'll get this debate going. So as I said, the two teams that are going to participate today, it's from Nigeria and from Tanzania. But before we can start, we have to go over the rules and guidelines just so that we are cool with each other and no one says something out of turn. So these are the debate rules. Please be respectful, challenge the issue, be mindful and understanding, don't be insulting or swearing or offensive language, give everyone a chance to speak. Raise your hand if you want to speak. You have 2 minutes, guys, to state your point. Please stick to the topic. Mute yourself if you're not speaking. If you are able to, please switch on your camera, and no personal attacks or references. Please stick to the facts, the evidence, and stats. So the debate criteria, so to the two teams, this is how we are going to do the scoring. We first look at argumentation. How well do the debaters present their arguments, evidence, and reasoning? Rebuttal. Second item is rebuttal. How effective do the two teams respond to each other's arguments and counter their points? Organization. How well structured and clear are your arguments and presentations? The delivery. How effective are you guys in communicating the message, engaging with the audience, and handling questions? And lastly, how well do you guys use credible sources and data to support your arguments? And then a bonus point is respect and decorum. Guys, respect is the order of the day. Let us be respectful. Let us be understanding. Let's not attack each other here. Let us be respectful. So today, our judges for today, it is Dauda who is here. So Dauda is going to be judging the debate, and also me. Yes, also me. I will also be judging the debate. So this is the scoring system that me and Dauda are going to use for the debate. Okay. Are we all clear on the rules and criteria of the debate? Okay. So, as I have said, today's topic is economic growth versus environmental protection. Which should take priority? So this debate examines whether African countries should focus more on achieving rapid economic growth or prioritizing environmental protection and sustainability. Supporters of the economic growth might argue that development creates jobs, reduces poverty, and improves infrastructure, whereas the supporters of environmental protection might say that protecting natural resources ensures long-term sustainability, public health, and climate stability. So that is a brief summary of today's topic. So for Team Nigeria is going to tackle the environmental protection aspect of this question, and Team Tanzania is going to tackle economic growth. So I will first start with Team Nigeria with environmental protection. So whenever you're ready, please start with your opening argument. Judges, are we ready? Audience, are we ready? Please, audience, you can drop your comments in the chat box and we'll get to them as soon as we can. So let's go to Team Nigeria, who is going to start us off.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening to the judges, to the members of Vice for Education, Africa Represent Executive, and to everyone who will be debating today. My name is Simon Julabi, and I'll be debating and telling you why we should prioritize environmental protection over economic growth. The position today might want to tell you that we must choose between a healthy environment and a green economy. They will talk about industrialization as if it can exist in a vacuum. But let me be clear today. The economy is a part of the environment. Without the environment, there is no economy. We are currently treating our planet like a business. We are selling off its assets. We sell our forests, we sell our water, we sell our soil just to get our economy going. But one thing you must know is that if this asset is over, our business, that is our economy, will be gone forever. Before I give the stats and facts of my argument today, let me give you a little analogy to make you better understand my point. Imagine a family that decides to grow their wealth by chopping off the beams that support their house, the pillars that support their houses. They chop it up and they sell it. For today, for tomorrow, they'll have extra money to spend. They'll have money. Their economy will be booming. But what happens on the seventh day? The house will fall. That is, they'll become poor and they'll become homeless. That is, the environment will be gone and the economy will be gone. Now, let me give you stats and facts of my case. And before I go on, I must say this. Don't just take my word for it. Fact check me. I will start with Africa. Let's look at Lake Chad. In the 1960s, it was a vital freshwater sea covering 25,000 square kilometers. Today, that same sea has shrunk by 90%. And what has it brought about to our economy? The environmental disaster has devastated the livelihoods of over 50 million people across Nigeria, Chad, Niger, and Cameroon. What is the real cause? Fisheries have collapsed. Agricultural productivity has vanished. This has led to 9% welfare loss for the people of Chad alone. And this has also brought about instability in the economy and the security. What does this say? This says that the economy and the security will shatter if our economy breaks. Now let me bring you back to my country. I'm from Nigeria, and one of the major cities in my country is Lagos. A 2018 World Bank study found that the air pollution in Lagos alone caused an economic loss of $2.1 billion in a single year. That is about 2.1% of the state's entire GDP. This was not lost because there was too much regulation of the government. It was lost because of illness, of deaths, and reduced workforce that was caused by environmental degradation. Now, let me take you outside Africa. I'll take you to the US. In the 1930s, there was what we call the American Dust Bowl. The US, they prioritized aggressive agricultural expansion growth without environmental safeguards. That is, they are plowing, they were tilling millions of acres of land and they also ignored the ecological balance. What did this lead to? This led to a massive environmental collapse, which is called the Dust Bowl. And economy-wise, it also ruined the economy. Wheat production was down by 36% and maize by 48%. And this took years for the land to come back. Until today, 75% of the original topsoil of some of those lands are gone forever. I can go on and on, but I have to stop here for now.
Sorry, Simon. I'm going to have to cut you there. Your time is up. Okay, thank you, Simon, for your opening arguments. Let's go to Team Tanzania, your opening argument about economic growth.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
That's why I said we believe in protecting the environment as the key to any kind of advancement. So instead of putting forward only economic growth, we believe that environmental protection is the key to humankind development. Because when you have a serene, sustainable environment, actually you attract development in other sectors. Even you are social, economic development fire. So we stand by that by putting forward environmental protection against anything, against any kind of human advancement. We believe by protecting environment, we could stimulate other sectors of life, other sectors of economy, hence support growth and community of people development. So just like I've said, we stand with that economic environmental protection will lead us to more advancement, lead us to that economic growth. And without that environmental protection, we could not achieve any kind of economic growth. Even if we achieve it, it won't be sustainable. It's just a long-lived thing. But if you want to have a sustainable, a long-term future now and future investment, we believe we stand on environmental protection first. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Please, Eric, next time work on your line. You are breaking up a bit, but you are audible. So please just work on your connection. Okay, so thank you, Eric, for your point. So, team Nigeria, what do you have to say about what he has said so far? What can you add? What can you dispute? What are your thoughts?
Environmental protection was actually taken priority because Africa's economy is heavily dependent on nature. Unlike every industrialized regions, many African countries are built on agriculture, fishing, forestry, tourism, and natural resources. Because when the environment suffers, yes, our economy suffers easily because when we have issues the farm, the river, the beach, where we fish, where there are issues, so it will definitely will affect our economies directly. So and let me just say, environmental degradation does not wait for policy solution. It's actually acts now. So let's use for example, let's say Lagos and Nigeria and example. So when coastal erosion threatens cities like Lagos, infrastructures are damaged. The infrastructure is damaged. So when desertification expands across northern Nigeria, the light is shrink because it's actually affects what they do because they deal with more farming than fishing and the likes. So when climate variability affects part of some places, it affects what our governments affects on the economic growth because that's why what it affects the economic growth. So all this one are just normal quotations like that one. It is something that happens. So we need to protect our environment growth must actually come first. So now that's what comes. Now if the start is careless, just regulate anyhow. So it will actually boost our GDP today, but we reduce our national waste world. True wealth is not just wealth, it's fertile land, it is clean water, stable climate, healthy citizen, and even of biodiversity. So environmental protection is a barrier. It's actually a development strategy that we can actually use. So African actually use as the opportunity to fund updated national. So we can invest in solar energy instead of all the others. So we can even promote climate smart agriculture instead of destroying land use. Instead of us destroying our land, we can even promote climate smart agriculture. We can even build circular economies instead of waste every system. Instead of just what's it called disposing waste just anyhow. We can even build circular economy like I said, can even what comes in. These are not just anti-growth. This is like indigenous. So
Sorry, Tijan, I will have to cut you off there. Okay. Yeah, your time is up. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Tijan. There was a question here thrown by Tijani. Please just help me here. You raised the question of how can agriculture help the environment without us damaging it. I hope that I am right, because you speak a very good point there. How can we save the environment whereas we're always damaging it? So that is an issue. Okay, so please, Tijani, please work on your network because we could not hear you clearly. Please work on that. Okay, I just want to throw in a question to the no, not to the audience, to the teams. Can African countries achieve economic growth without damaging the environment? So can it be possible? Whereas, okay, we have growth, economy is growing, economy is improving, but can we do it in a way that it's not going to damage the environment in any way, shape, or form? Is that possible? So I'm going to ask that question to Team Tanzania. So the question again, can African countries achieve economic growth without damaging their environment?
Yes, yes, we can. Can you hear me now?
Yes, you're audible now. Go ahead.
Yes, actually, it's all about greed and just selfishness, which led to this massive degradation, pollution, and everything. For instance, in Tanzania, is most agricultural societies, but it's like 5 years ago, in most part, people have started practicing this we call good agriculture practices. You practice agriculture, but at the same time, you mind the environment, you mind the flora and fauna. You see, but also there are some places which mining actually took place. Previous years, actually investors could come, do some mining without regard to environment, which led to water pollution and everything. But now, actually, the conscience is up. People can do mining, but at the same time, mine the catchment areas, uh, establish some mining projects in connection or in consultation with surrounding villages to see how those projects can coexist with the environment. And actually, we see a very good result, especially in agriculture, because now actually things like organic farming, good agriculture practices are really thriving, and the benefit is really vivid because people are cultivating the land, but still they mind the environment, the catchment areas, the forests, and the other ecosystem. So it is possible to achieve that economic growth without damaging the environment. Even if you can learn an example from the Netherlands, it's a very small country, but still they export horticulture products to different part of the world. They're a very small country, but they're still doing it because they're doing it smart. They also regard the environment, and they're not putting greed and selfishness first. So it's possible even here in Africa, and I can say even in my village, people are cultivating hash agriculture, hash avocado for export. But we are doing it by using global gap good agriculture practices. So it's possible to achieve economic growth by also taking care of our environment, because by destroying it actually is like we see in most part of Africa now, especially in Central or West Africa. There is this vivid unpredictable rainfall, land degradation, prolonged droughts, because we prioritize uh, economic growth, but we neglect the aspect of protecting the environment. So my point is clear. We can practice a sustainable massive investment in both in all aspects of our economic growth, but we can also coexist. We can also interrelate it with economic, with environmental protection. So it is possible, and we are practicing it. We've seen the result. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's take John, and then we'll go to the audience. So John, go ahead.
Okay, thanks. Another thing about this is it is possible for African country to achieve economic growth without damaging our environment, because, for example, taking an example for in energy sector, instead of generating energy through using kerosene or other kind of fossil fuels, we can use renewable energies like solar power or wind or hydropower, and through that we have sustainable energy or efficient energy, but also we obtain our we do our economic activities without damaging the environment. But another thing is we can promote something so called the green industry in our in our countries. We as Africans, we gonna use we can use we can recycle materials in our industries, and also we can produce eco-friendly product. So by doing so we achieve economic growth without damaging our environment. But also, as he said, Mr. Eriki, that we can do a sustainable agriculture without using industrial fertilizers. We can use organic fertilizers, organic manure, and through so we will be adding something which is favorable to environment, or will be helping the environment protection. And we also at the same time we will do we will do our agricultural practice and obtain what we want from the environment, and so result to economic growth without damaging our environment. So it is possible for African countries to obtain economic growth without damaging our environment. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's hear from Team Nigeria. Your thoughts on the question: can African countries achieve economic growth without damaging the environment? So that is the question. Okay, go ahead, Simon.
Okay, so I think it's possible for us to go about building prioritizing agriculture while still maintaining the environment. I'll start to the point earlier raised by Tijani. We have to transition from the current model to a circular economy, which is we have to move from just using materials and wasting it to recycling them. And also, we can get plants, we can get crops well developed without using inorganic manure, fertilizers that are harmful to the environment. We can use organic materials that are also beneficial to the environment. And another point is this: agriculture currently in Africa employs more than 50% of the Africa labor force, and it contributes between 15 and 25% of GDP in many countries. So we have to prioritize the environment, because without the environment, I don't think there is any agricultural growth. Another way we can go is investment in natural capital generating agriculture. We have to practice regenerative farming using cover crops and avoid tilling. We have to reduce the need for expensive chemical fertilizers and pesticides. And we have to restore our lands. When we restore our lands, we increase the property value and ensures long-term food security. According to World Bank, every $1 invested in land reservation can add up to $30 in economic benefits through increased crop yields and ecosystem services. And another way is still agriculture, but water agriculture. It's called the blue economy, the ocean and water management. When we established marine protected areas, we allow fish stocks to replenish and protect mangroves that buffer against storm surges. We boost the economy that way because there's ecotourism. People want to see our coral reef and see our clean beaches. This is a $1 trillion asset. So our economy would grow if we prioritize our environment over the economy. Because, as I said earlier, there is no economy without an environment.
Okay, thank you. Okay, to the audience, lots were shared. What are your thoughts? Maybe you can also answer this question: can African countries achieve economic growth without damaging the environment? So I'd like to hear from you guys. Any thoughts on what was shared so far? Let's just take two and then we go back to the teams. Okay, go ahead. Good luck. No, okay, no. Let's start with Mawa. Okay, let's go ahead, Mawa, then Khaulate.
Thank you, Siwi, and thank you both teams for sharing your insight. And in reference to the last question asked by Siwi, talking about the possibility of taking the environment into consideration when working on economic growth. And according to the statements of both teams, it is possible. But reality is a little bit different from what you're talking about. Like, for example, if we're talking about deforestation and agricultural expansion and its negative impact on the environment here, we're talking about really bad situation. Like Africa lost 3.994 million hectares of forest per year between 2010 and 2020. If we're talking about the cost of air pollution, here we're talking about the total annual cost of premature death from outdoor particulate matter. Like here in Africa is estimated at $215 billion. And if we're talking about resources depletion here, we're talking also about, natural depletion of resources, which is actually understood for everyone living in Africa. So my question is, what is missing then? Like, if it's possible in theory, what is missing in reality in order to make it happen? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Interesting question there for the two teams. Thank you. Okay, let's go to Haulate.
Thank you very much. I absolutely love this topic today, and thank you to the teams that are debating today. What I just wanted to say is that perhaps maybe the question that we're asking here is not the right one. Not to say that the topic is not. What I'm saying is there is absolutely no way that we can have an economy without ecology. So for every industry, take agriculture, take mining, energy, tourism, all of them, they depend on the environment. They depend on water, they depend on land and a very stable climate, which we are slowly losing to horrible climate change effects that are brought about by the very same industries that we depend upon for our GDPs to rise. So here in this case, the environment is not really a constraint on growth. It is actually the foundation of the growth. So I think that perhaps maybe we must change the narrative from taking more from the environment, burning more of what we take from the environment, building faster on the environment. But we must change and redesign the growth methods of how we build our economy. Perhaps maybe, how about we participate, our countries participate in carbon markets. Africa is one of the places where renewable energy and circular industries could boom because there's a whole abundance of all of that. We can protect our natural capital like we protect the very infrastructure that we want to gain out of economic growth. So it's important that Africa take that step to be the lead in clean technology and resilience so that we can own these industries for the future. We don't want to have people coming in from outside to show us how to use our very own sun. I'll give you an example. Botswana is a land full of sun. Literally, every corner of Botswana is sun. Temperatures go up to 40 degrees. But are we the lead in solar energy? No. We could be using that to improve our GDP. So thank you very much. I just wanted to say these two go together. Thank you.
Okay, thank you from the audience. Thank you for your points. So to the two teams, both Mao and Khalati raised some important points. So I'm just going to combine the two so that we can move on and not take up time. So one of the things that both audience members have raised is reality. What is the reality in real life? Like what's going on? How is it affecting the normal citizen? So basically the question to you guys, to the two teams, it is, does prioritizing economic growth help reduce poverty and improve living standards faster? Because those are one of the realities most Africans face. There's poverty, there's unemployment, for example. How could prioritizing economic growth help reduce that? And is there a way maybe environmental protection could do I won't say a better job, but I'll say a better job than economic growth could ever do? Or is it a matter of them working together? So the question here is, does prioritizing economic growth help reduce poverty and improve living standards faster or slower? And could environmental protection do it any better? So that is the question that I want to rise to you guys. So let's start with the Team Tanzania. Your answer to the question, please.
Actually, my answer to the question is by prioritizing economic growth against environmental protection. Actually, it has increased the poverty level and also the deterioration of people's living standard. That's why I said environmental protection is the key and the first to everything. For instance, the area where we are living is predominantly agriculture communities, but when we started the extensive big farming of avocado without considering the environment, actually, of course, we could export more, but the individual living standard were quite low. But currently, when we turn to good agriculture practices, agriculture which focus on protecting the ecosystem, actually the smallholders, farmers, especially youth and women, actually their living standard have been improved because they're practicing agriculture, but still they can do some beekeeping, but still the water supply is clean and safe. But at the same time, they can harvest the first quality avocado for the export and also for the local markets. So if we want to improve the living standard of our people, of the Africans, we should first prioritize a proper or good environmental protection, because by having a good environmental protection, actually, even those big projects and everything will also impact the people directly. For instance, in some neighboring districts which are predominantly mining areas, we have this multinational company which are mining there, but you can see now even people are experiencing some sort of cancer and everything because they fail. They just care about mining, taking gold and up. But now, when they started actually investing in environment, protecting rivers, soil, and everything, now even the small scale miners are conscious about environmental protection, and they know because if you pollute water by whatever chemical you're using, it may go and affect your mother, your relative, and everyone. The fish industry will collapse, their agriculture will collapse, and everything. So I can say I'm a vivid witness of how minding and taking care of environment actually could produce a quick and tangible results on improvement of people's livelihood instead of just minding investment or just economic growth without protecting the environment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let's go to John. Maybe you have a different perspective, but you're still with economic growth. What do you have to say about that? I'll repeat the question. Does prioritizing economic growth, help reduce poverty and improve living standards faster? Or, and a follow-up to that, could environmental protection could do a more better job than economic growth? Okay, let's take someone from Team Nigeria. Your answer to the question. Hello?
Okay, I will.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Okay. I would say, yes. Uh, Economic growth can helps decrease poverty and helps provide more opportunity if the focus or if the starting point is not on environmental destruction. Now, because if you did not promote, if you did not protect your environment, and you just okay, now we come about to bring out to a particular place, we bring an industry. We started building industry, the big company dealing with solar, petroleum industry, oil industry, solar energy industry. But all the environments, yeah, okay, let's use example. an area that is that has a large ocean or a large river, a big river. Now they come to the place, sand fill or land fill the place, build a company on it, build where people come in and get job opportunity. No, now that by that time it has actually helps was to create job opportunity for people. It has helped to what alleviate a little poverty. But that is just what's it called, a temporary solution, because on the long run, this environment is going to ask for it's what they take what they took from him, or sorry, what they took from it rather. So it's going to ask, because a situation is going to come, a time is going to come where they might experience what we call was flooding. So that is what the environment was not protected here. So you did not protect the environment, you destroy it, and then you bring about economic growth. So that is actually way out of the line. So economic growth can actually help us with a better future. It can help with alleviating poverty if it does not focus on what's it called? It does not focus on environmental destruction. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Simon, go ahead. Hello, Simon. Okay, let's go to.
So, can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. So the question, does prioritizing economic growth help reduce poverty and improve living standards? I would say no. And could environmental protection do a better job? I would say yes. Now let me take you to Ogoni. There was a time where Ogoni is a community in Nigeria, River State to be precise. So they prioritize drilling oil, and it made the community leaders rich, but it cost them one thing: it made the community members poor. Why? Loss of jobs. If we prioritize focusing on the economy, the country will become rich, but the community members, the people, will become poor. Currently, today, agriculture employs 870 million to over 1 billion people worldwide, while the oil and gas employ just 6 to 12 million people. That is, so now what should we prioritize? We should prioritize the environment because it helps us become better. Like currently, if we use renewable energy like solar, windmills, water dams, it is more cheaper than using fossil fuels like petroleum, gas to generate power. So now what should we focus on? We should focus on our environment. And let me give you one more point before I go. The relationship between economic growth and environmental protection in Africa will only be simple if we focus more on our environment. I say this one more time. If our environment is good, if our environment is growing, if our environment is protected, our economy will grow. There cannot be a thriving economy within environment. Mention one country in the world where their environment is dead and their country is doing well. You look at the countries now currently doing very well in the world. You look at Indonesia, what is happening? They focus on agriculture, they focus on the environment, and the country is doing better. Let's focus on the environment, and I think our countries will do better.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry. Let's go to Tijani again, and then we can go to John if he's ready. Okay, Tijani, go ahead.
Okay. In addition to my partner, hello, can you hear me? Okay, yes. In addition to what my partner just said, there is no economic growth without an environment. There's no economic growth without an environment. For example, let's look at what's called an industry that produces paper. They can't produce that without making use of trees in the forest. So they need to what they need to what make use of what the environment actually offers them before they can work on that. So same goes for like oil producing company and other companies too like that. So they focus on they need to what the health of the environment before they can actually function. So there is no economic growth without any environment. So let me also add this. So I think economic growth actually without focusing on environmental protection actually favors more of the poor and not, favors more of the rich and not the poor. Because now when it comes to their communities and the lives, you make use of their environments, you destroy what, okay, let's not use destroy this time around. You come, you build a complaint and the likes. So and now when it's time to employ people, they might not employ the people of that particular company. Now whatever they are doing in that particular land that was given to, or that was bought to build that company, probably farming, fishing, and the likes. So that particular thing that actually be destroyed. So it's going to favor what the person that owns the company, that's what the rich, the elites, but not what the poor. So those that are actually making use of that particular land and the people, they are actually now jobless. They don't have anything to do. So economic growth cannot actually function without the environment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's go to John. What do you have to say?
Okay. What I want to say is, yes, we can have economic growth can help reduce poverty and improve living standards, as well as protecting environment. First, we as Africans, we can invest heavily in those sectors which are they employ a large number of people, or they involve large number of people in activity. For example, as we know that African countries mainly they are basing on agriculture, mining, and natural resources. So we can, for example, we can invest in agriculture, and in agriculture, we can do we can creating a sense of in our community of creating a chain of value from the first point in farming to the last point where a product reaching a consumer. In by doing so, we will obtain economic growth, but also we will be protecting our environment in such a way that we we can create a community which understands how the production has to be done from the first point, and for everything which is produced have not to be a waste, cannot be wasted, and everything produced has to be used in one way or the other. For example, if we have a farm and we grow we cultivate maybe beans, in that farm, later on the grasses will also grow there. So instead of taking those grasses as pollutants or as waste, we can use them for maybe for as food for our cows and goats and the other things. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we're running off topic. Let's try. Before I get to the audience, I just want to finish up with the two teams. Get noted. So we are here with both facts and both perspectives on this. So I just want to throw in a question to you guys. Is it possible to balance industrial development with conservation efforts? So this is a bit of a combination between economic growth and environmental protection. Can it be possible to balance the two? If so, what are the ways that can be possible? If not, why do you say? What are the possible disadvantages, the possible consequences? So that is the question that I want to throw to you guys. Is it possible to balance industrial development with conservation efforts, basically combining the two pointers? So let me start with Team Nigeria. So your thoughts on the question?
So sorry, my hands were raised to ask a question to the Tanzanian side.
Oh, okay. No, you can raise that. You can raise that. I'll just drop my question in the chat box. You can raise it.
All right. So today the Tanzanians are arguing on the side of the economy, saying we should favor the economy over our environment. So I'm asking them today, if you prioritize growth today at the expense of the environment, how will we sustain that growth when the raw materials like the water, the soil, and the stable weather are gone? Because of course, if you favor the economy, you get a short boom, enough money. But how would we sustain that growth when the materials like our water, our soil, and our good climates are gone?
Okay, interesting question raised by Team Nigeria. How can, please repeat the question?
So, how, if we prioritize growth today of the economy at the expense of our environment, how would we sustain that growth when the raw materials of the environment, like the water, the soil, and the climate are gone? If we prioritize economic growth over environmental development, what are we? How will we sustain that growth when the environment is gone?
Okay, thank you. So, anyone from Team Tanzania, please respond to the question.
Okay, that's why even from the first start from Team Tanzania, we believe we would like economic growth, but our point is we should prioritize environmental protection first because a good environmental ecosystem will also trigger the economic growth. That's why from the latest question from our moderator, we believe also by a proper uh, coexistence between economic growth and environmental protection, especially by emphasizing on political will, having a proper implementation of policies, but also encouraging that incentive. As you said, for instance, currently these carbon credit things have been really a good thing because now people see there is a profit from carbon market and everything. So it's true when our environment, when our resources perish, actually, we can't sustain economic growth in a long term. That's why, because we need the economic growth, but also we need the environment, we can create a coexistence models. Like I told you, you can practice agriculture, but a good agriculture practices. So it's possible to have both of them, but also if we don't regard the protection of environment, the long-term or sustainable economic development won't be possible in Africa. That's why we insist on coexistence, but we should put environmental protection first. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your answer. And okay, let's go to John. Your thoughts on the question raised by Simon. Hello, John, are you there?
Yes, yeah, I'm here. I was reading the question that if you prioritize growth today at the expense of environment, how will you sustain that growth when the raw materials like water, fertile soil, and the stable weather are gone? In my first point, I said that we can do sustainable agriculture, or we can do we can use sustainable energy. So by doing so, if we use everything sustainably, we will not compromise the future. We will not compromise a future, or when it comes a time when we want to use those things again. So everything that we have to do is to make sure everything in our activities, it is sustainable, it is sustainably practiced. So by doing so, we will not we will be sustaining our growth. So by doing so, we will not face the calamity of having scarcity in those resources. For example, if we do sustainable water use, or sustainable sustainable activities, will not compromise with the soil fertility, but also will not create a chance to compromise our weather. So I suggest that for African countries, every plans we make, everything that we intend to do, it has to be sustainable, or it should aim on obtaining sustainable activities, or in doing sustainable activities. So by doing so, we will sustain our growth. That is my opinion. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Okay, which brings me back to my initial question, which is kind of similar. Okay, let's go to Simon. Go ahead.
I have an answer to your question that says, can we balance industrial development with conservation effort? I would say yes, it is possible to balance industrial development with conservation efforts. And most African countries today are currently transitioning towards this model. We sometimes call it sustainable industrial development. Rather than choosing a healthy economy and a healthy environment, the modern approach today is to focus on fusing them together. It's like a green structural transformation where industrial growth is designed to be low carbon and resource efficient from the start. How do we do this? Renewable energy integration. So, okay,
Okay.
powering manufacturing sectors with solar, wind, and hydro energy allows for industrial expansion without the carbon footprints we get when we use fossil fuels like petroleum, diesel, and gas. And we have to incorporate what we call the circular economy models. We have to move from just we take of the environment, we make a product, we use it and we dispose it. So we have to go to a system that prioritizes recycling. When we make, when we dispose, we have to recycle. It helps reduce waste reduction. And I tell you this, it also boosts the economy because there are more jobs. When we have recycling centers, who do we employ? They will employ humans there, not machines. So I must say this to close. We must preserve our natural capital preservation. We must preserve our ecosystem services like clean water and fertile soils because these are economic assets. You see, if our agricultural economy is booming, I think the economy of the country will be booming. But now the world is now moving fastly from just okay. My time is up. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's go to Tijani.
Okay.
Hello, Tijani, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so in support of my partner, yes, it is possible to balance industrial developments with conservation. The real issue is not whether balance is possible, but it is whether policies are designed intelligently. Yes, industrial development does not automatically requires environmental destruction. With proper regulations, clean technology, the environmental impact assessment, and sustainable planning growth can actually occur alongside. They can occur together. They can alongside conservation. So they can come together. So many sectors already demonstrated this balance. We can see like the renewable energy. They've expanded electricity access while reducing emissions. Sustainable agriculture also increases productivity without degrading soil. Now we also have what this ecotourism, which generates revenues while protecting biodiversity. So African countries like let's say like Nigerians and other countries like Tanzania, so they have abundant renewable energy potential. So investing in solar and wind power supports industrialization without what heavy pollution. So balancing development and conservation is actually not the theoretical concept. It's something that is comes with a strategy, a strategic choice. So it's industrial development without conservation. It actually creates hidden costs such as health crisis, disaster recovery expenses, and resource depletion. So conservation reduces this long-term economic risk. So the goal is not actually not to stop factories. The goal is to modernize them. So it is not the goal is actually not to halt infrastructure. So it's actually to build resilient infrastructure. So through industrial progress in this 21st century, it must integrate environmental safeguard. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Okay, let's hear from Team Tanzania. The answer to the question: is it possible to balance industrial development with conservation efforts? And then we're going to do concluding thoughts. So, to Team Tanzania, your thoughts on the question? Hello, Eric. Hello, John.
Okay, I respond to this question as it is possible to balance economy with to balance in industrial development with economic efforts as uh, for example the world today is not is struggling to either keep a forest or to build a factory. Today, the world is struggling in doing something that I was talking before, that it is sustainable development. So, as by doing so, uh, we can, as Africans, because we have to balance between industrial development and conservation efforts, we have to integrate our activities, our industrial activities. For example, when you think about having an industry, uh, we can use those materials which are in industry, they term them as waste, but we in maybe in agriculture, we use those waste as manure, and by doing so we can do something to environment. But also we can we can do activities which will help the environment to sustain itself. For example, if we have a greenhouse where we do our agricultural activities, and nearby that greenhouse, we have created a mechanism which helping the surrounding environment also to sustain itself. For example, if we are using water in our greenhouse, after the usage, we do not expect to dump those water. I will expect to direct those water in area in the environment where they will be used. For example, in industry, as we know, they produce wastewater. Instead of dumping them in the river to degrade the environment, they can have treatment activities, and then those water from industry will be used again in another activities. For example, they can be used in irrigation activities. So by doing so, we will have industrial development, but also those industrial activities will be used as efforts in environmental or in conservation or in environmental protection. So as it is possible to balance industrial development with conservation efforts. We are not saying that we have to stop industrial development, but we have to integrate industrial activities with environmental protection. That's my core point. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Good points made. Thank you for the answers. Okay, guys, let us do concluding thoughts. So, what do you want to leave the audience with regards to this topic? What is your final thoughts? If you could summarize everything that you guys have said, what would it be? What would the sentence be? What is the call to action? So now we're doing concluding thoughts. So I'm gonna give the teams 1 minute. So please keep it short and brief and straight to the point. 1 minute. So I will start with Team Nigeria. Your time starts now.
All right, so I will have to take a quick story in 30 seconds before I go to my concluding thoughts. We have what we call the Great Green Wall. It's an African-led initiative to restore 100 million hectares of degraded land. It says for every $1 we invest in the land restoration here, we get $1.2 dollar to $4.4 in return. And I will say this to conclude: we can have prosperity. We can have prosperity with environmental protection, but we cannot and will not have prosperity without it. Protecting the environment is not a luxury for the rich; it's a survival strategy for all. Therefore, environmental protection must take priority. Thank you.
Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, on my conclusion, I can say humanity need coexistence. We need economic development, but also we need the environment. So in order to attain now advancement, but also sustainable in the future generation development, we should now start to act instead of just talking. We should implement, we should revisit, and we should work on all models, technology, knowledge, research, and put into action on how we can integrate economic growth with environmental growth for our planet advancement. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Tijani. Okay, let's go to John. John, go ahead.
Okay. For me, in conclusion of what you have discussed is the ultimate goal, we as Africans, our ultimate goal should not focus on coexist. We have to make each and everything when you say in economic and environmental protection, we have to make these two things independent to one another. By doing so, a true balance will be achieved when we stop viewing environmental protection as a cost, but when we start to view it as a infrastructure which will make economic growth. So by doing so, we will have economic development as well as environmental protection. So these two things, of course, they have to be independent to one another, but activities conducted should help one another in its success. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Okay, lastly, Tijani, go ahead.
So can you hear me now?
Yes.
So I will just conclude just like my partner end with his story. So we should just imagine a farmer who sells all his seeds to make quick money. For a moment, he feels rich, but when planting season comes, he has nothing left to grow because he already sold all his seeds. So this is just what economic growth is without environmental protections look like. So if we destroy our forests, pollute our water, exhaust our soil for short-term gain, we may increase our GDP today, but we reduce our ability to prosper tomorrow. So our African futures generally depends on what we preserve and not just what we produce. So growth is important, but growth that protects its foundation is the only growth that lasts. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you to the two teams for your concluding thoughts. Lots to think about. So let's go to the audience, hear what they have to say about the topic. So Luzulo says, in my opinion, African countries should focus on sustainable economic growth instead of choosing between development and environmental protection. Economic growth is important for jobs and poverty reduction, but if it destroys the environment, it creates long-term problems for health, food security, and future generations. Africa depends on its natural resources, so protecting the environment is not a luxury, it is a necessity. True development must improve people's lives today without harming tomorrow. Okay, thank you, Luzulo, for your points. Anyone else would like to share their thoughts? We have about 5 minutes, so anyone with their thoughts on this topic, feel free to join in. Okay, so Dockers here in the chat box says there is no way we can balance industrialization and environmental protection as long as our motives are to make money from it. Because most of our conservation activities are focused solely around theoretical ideologies, while on the ground we're practically dependent upon whatever industrial processes has to offer. So our conservation activities should be practical too. Okay, thank you, Dockers, for your thoughts. Okay, let's go to Haulate.
Thank you. I think that these two things can exist in harmony. What needs to be done is to change the mindset and do a complete overhaul of how we used to mine resources from the environment in order to grow our economies. What we need to do is move from extractive behaviors to more regenerative behaviors. Not only can that help the environment, but it will boost the economy because it will provide more jobs. If we improve green jobs and increase green jobs and how we handle the environment and regenerate the environment than just extract from it. The two can be mutually exclusive and they can be harmony. Just that mindset change. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Khalate. Anyone else like to share? Okay. So to the two teams, thank you for your points. Those were really insightful and really good points made on both sides. You really made your point across. So to conclude with this topic, economic growth and environmental protection are both essential for Africa's development. Rapid economic progress can improve livelihoods, but environmental damage can threaten long-term sustainability and public health. The most effective solution may involve sustainable development strategies that allow economic advancement while protecting natural resources for future generations. So all in all, guys, both factors must be able to protect us from all the livelihoods and also prepare for the future. Because remember, we're doing this for the future generations. Yes, we want economic growth, but we also want the younger generation to see where we come from first. How are we here? What did we do? The environment, because our environment is precious, guys. And we think so little of it that we kind of put it on the sidelines. We do, and even if we do it, we have this thing of, oh, I still have to do it. No, it shouldn't be the case, guys. Environmental protection is very, very, very important. So is economic growth, but environmental protection is very, very important. And there are ways that both of them can correlate with each other. There's the SDG initiative, those goals. There's sustainable agriculture, recycling, even something so simple as recycling. Those are ways that can integrate both in both initiatives just for the future generations. So that's let's leave it there for now with regards to the topic.